there are actually numerous studies that have been funded that show that sugar's okay. 30 grams of sugar is okay. Is any sugar okay? No.
This is where I get frustrated.
Don't even open that can of worms.
Like horrifying.
Horrifying. Not allowed to cry or have emotions in your house?
Like, do you really need to know what Zimoglyphosate is?
Oh, Jessica.
Everyone has a favorite. Everyone does. Hey, Lauren.
Hey, Jess.
How are you?
Good. I'm good today. You?
Good. You know that place where you're like, is my period coming or am I pregnant? Like, that's where I am. So,
Oh, that sucks.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I shouldn't be pregnant, but like, and then you started already. So, like,
Knock on
hopefully
wood.
you will trigger me to start. But, like, other
We're
than that,
syncing.
feeling great.
Okay, great. Awesome.
Yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't start while you're sitting there on that green
Fingers
chair.
crossed, bitch.
Yeah.
At least it's not dark. At least I have black jeans on.
Okay, so we're going to be talking today about food and nutrition and diet and all those things. So I'm reading a book right now called, I had to write it down because I cannot remember the name, even though it's super simple. Healthy Kids, Happy Kids.
Healthy Kids, Happy Kids?
Yes.
Great.
And it's by a functional pediatrician.
What does that mean?
It's a pediatrician who uses all like natural homeopathic type treatments
Like
instead of prescribing. She doesn't prescribe at
Medication.
all. She only
Okay.
does like
herbs?
yeah. Herbs,
So is she
vitamins,
like an
minerals,
MD?
supplements. Yeah, she's an MD.
All right.
She an MD.
Where's she live? Oregon?
I think it's like it's like California or something
Right.
like that. Yeah.
Westy Crunchy.
Yeah.
Got it.
But it's she's obviously like on an extreme end of the conversation.
Okay.
But the things that she brings up in this book, it's like holy shit.
Like horrifying?
horrifying.
Yeah.
It's really scary.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's just very eye-opening because it's stuff that we ignore or, not ignore, but most of us don't know. We have no idea that this shit is going on, that this shit's in our kids' food. Like, she talks about learning to read labels, basically.
Oh.
Okay, but like what everything means on the label, like she breaks it down.
Like
because
the
a lot of it's,
letter word.
Yeah, that you're like, you don't know what the hell that is. And so she like breaks down what every single thing is and like the history of it, like where it comes from, what is it used for, and like how to look for the healthier alternative, which leaves you with like not a ton of options, unfortunately.
But instead of like, do you really need to know what Zimoglyphosate is, or is it more like, if you can't read it, you don't eat it?
Yes, she does say that.
Yeah.
Yes. And so like for adults, she's teaching them like why these things are bad, but like she's taught her kids to just like recognize the word and be like, no, I don't want that.
Oh, okay, got it. Like when they're in the line and they pick up a Snickers or something.
Correct.
Got it.
Correct.
Got it.
So yeah.
All right, cool.
It's very relevant to our conversation today with
Rick, he's always reading too, and he has like a diet of the month. Like that man is always searching for something. Anyways, right now he's reading Carnivore Code by Paul Saladino. You know him?
Nope.
Oh, no. And he's listening to the Plant Free MD podcast. So like he's in his era of like plants are terrible for you. He's always kind of been in this space of like beans are inflammatory, or legumes, pardon. Anyways, and he, like right now, he's like, what did he say? We've only been farmers for so long, and we've been humans for a lot longer. So I want to like try this out, what we were doing
Did
before
he know that
farmers.
humans used to hunt and gather? Gather was the other part of it, which meant berries and plants. We might need to remind him
obviously
of that.
he's going to come on,
Hunting
so
was
y'all
part
can
of it.
banter, right?
Right.
And like argue, and I can just sit back and eat popcorn.
Okay, I would love that. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, who are we talking to today?
Dr. Lauren Hernandez.
Okay. Tell the people about her.
So Lauren is a pediatrician.
Okay.
And she was like my idol when I was training. Lauren.
What do you mean training?
So she was, 2 years ahead of me?
Oh, in med school?
Right?
In med
2
school?
years ahead of me? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then she was in residency when I was like coming up. And then once she went out into private practice, I started seeing her with my kids. So she's my kid's
Okay.
pediatrician.
Oh, you're like your personal children,
Yes, yeah,
not
yeah.
your clients.
No, my children. And she opened her own private, with a group. They opened
Yeah.
a private practice.
Okay.
And now she's like opened another practice because, she wasn't busy
Yeah.
enough. And she's doing what we call like integrative
Yeah.
medicine. Okay.
Explain to the listeners what that means.
So on the spectrum, and Lauren, feel free to correct me later when you're talking to us, but on the spectrum of like a, traditional conservative pediatrician who's using prescribed medications
Like
only,
purely, yeah,
right?
okay.
And then you have functional, like the author of this book, who's like only using natural
Grass.
homeopathic methods,
dirt.
and then you have integrative in the middle, who's like doing a little bit of both, but they are digging down to figure out like root causes of symptoms instead of just treating the symptoms.
Oh, like in mental health, like that's similar to, I feel like what you and I do.
Yes.
In mental health.
Yes.
It's like you're not just going to like throw a Vyvanse at a kid.
Correct.
You're going to like dig, refer to me maybe, and then I'm going to really dig and figure out what the function of the behavior and like what is the need.
Right.
All that
right.
stuff,
So
yeah.
it's like digging down, figuring out root causes of symptoms. And the goal is to get people to like an optimal state of health instead of just normal okay, which is what, the rest of like traditional conservative medicine, the goal is just to get you to normal.
To like
Quote
settle.
unquote normal or okay or stable. Right. But
alive.
integrative medicine, it's like getting you to optimal
Got
health.
it. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, let's bring her on.
Let's do that.
Okay, great. It feels like right now, like in today's age especially, like everyone is trying to find a reason for everything. Like a reason why my kid is anxious, a reason why my kid is defiant, or some sort of behavioral issue. And most of the time we're just like throwing spaghetti on the wall and like, seeing what remedies it. And so how does diet, or like where's the data that like provides evidence that I guess like diet, gut absorption or lack thereof can induce symptoms that kind of like mimic an ADHD or mimic an ODD, oppositional defiant disorder, things like that.
Yeah. So, all right, let me back you up just a second.
Okay, right.
So, I think I've been a pediatrician for 10 years, and I would say most pediatricians, I think today would agree with me that we went into pediatrics to treat healthy kids.
Yep.
Right? And what we're doing now is not really that.
Okay.
Over the last 10 years, I mean, it's significant incline just in my brain. If I didn't read any data,
Yeah.
kids are now just popping up with every single chronic disease, including y'all's, your specialty, which is the mental health,
Yeah. Yeah.
anxiety, depression.
I agree.
Y'all are probably super busy and are seeing that too. So that's, to me, I know it's happening, and then it's like, why, right?
Yep.
So I think more and more parents are asking because more and more parents are having to face it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really crazy, actually.
Yeah.
And I think I am almost a specialist or an adult doctor when I'm in my daily practice because
Yeah.
I'm never saying, oh, everything looks good, bye.
Yeah.
It's always a list of issues. 5 out of 10 people, half of people are on meds of some sort, me or lax, chronic conditions, right? So as far as the data goes, I think that you could do an easy Google search and look up diet and red dyes. Red dyes and ADHD.
Okay.
You can find anything out there, right? Which is what parents are doing. They're Googling. You can then find studies, from the NIH and all the stuff that PubMed that links all these things together, right? These are small studies, okay? Or they're clinical cases. But when you're talking about these huge studies to prove something, they have to be funded.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is
And
true.
who are funding them? People that want you to believe that maybe the food our kids are eating is fine, or, in y'all's world, the devices are safe, or, all these things. And so when it really boils down to it,
I mean, are people saying devices are safe? Who's saying that?
we should do a Google search for that.
Yeah. Meta.
I mean,
Meta. You know that Meta is,
I don't know
we'll
what
get
that,
into that
Yeah,
later.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but bringing it back to food, I mean, yes, there are numerous things out there showing harm, but there are actually numerous studies that have been funded that show that sugar's okay. 30 grams of sugar is okay. 20 grams of sugar is okay. Is any sugar okay? No.
But like, is it like 30 grams of sugar from fruit? Or like, is there a difference?
Added sugar.
Added sugar.
Yes. So whenever I say grams, I'm always saying added sugar.
Okay,
I
got
don't
it.
count fruit as sugar.
Got it.
But I think that's the big problem is that, one, they're kids.
Yep.
Kids are treated like small adults most of the time. And a lot of these studies that are done on adults. And then the medicines are then maybe trialed on kids for a second. No side effects, right? Like an ADHD, for an example, right? Sure, lots of adults can probably take these safely. And then these companies got smart and they're like, okay, let's do trials on kids. So there are trials from companies that are able to afford
like
these
Pfizer?
huge studies. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, what we call big pharma.
Big pharma.
Right.
Big pharma.
But when you do these, when you have this big funds to do these big trials and to prove that this medicine is safe in these kids, right? That's where a lot of the studies are. And so in the medical world, as a doctor, you're trained to trust science and trust data, right? And that's very important. And I do think that, and I value that. The problem is I think some of the science and the data is not accurate or all full swing, right? You're very
like
one-sided with what you're seeing.
Not the control group. What's the
sample?
Is that what you mean?
Or
Like
there's some bias.
Yes.
Right?
Okay,
or again, who's funding these studies, right? If you have a study that says ADHD medicine is completely safe for kids, who's funding that study to prove that? So that's, that's the nitty gritty of like, you have to know what you're looking at. And then for me, I go back to how I started this as clinical experience. And I see kids that take ADHD medicine and have side effects every single day. So to me, something doesn't add up. Who's going to fund the study to show all the negatives?
The whole picture.
The whole picture.
So, I guess this is where I get frustrated. It's like, okay, that all sounds great, right? Like, I believe that. And my kid is still 3 days away from getting kicked out of school. So, what do we do? Like, what do we do? How do you address a behavior like that? And this, you're correct, the words I use, like, holistic, natural, more natural way, like, and get the results that a medicine provides.
No, that's awesome. So I think, and I like to relate it to y'all's world. And I know, y'all are so passionate about screens and all that stuff. To me, what you're trying to do, right, is to prevent the damage from being done by being on an iPad all day. And sometimes you're cleaning up the mess, right? For me, and why I'm so passionate about this and why I think the most important thing is for me to get in front of a mom that's pregnant and tell her what to do from day one. Because when the baby's inside of you, what you're eating is literally, it's like a 3D copy. The baby's a 3D copy of mom, like a 3D printer copy, right? So what you're eating is making up the cells of the baby. Now, I ate like complete shit when I had babies and I craved bad stuff and I didn't know what I know today and I would do it different if I had to do it all over again. My kids are okay, but like you're cleaning up a little bit of mess, So I really think that it's prevention. The earlier we get in front of somebody and say, this is how you have to take care of your body, the better, So ask me your question again. I just lost my train of thought.
No, it's fine. Because now I have another question, so I don't care about that question.
So wait, my point was that, like, I think that with, you were saying about ADHD medicine, like, if
how
your
do
kid's
you
about
remedy
to get out of school, right?
Yes.
So prevention to me is not getting to that point, okay? So I'll answer your question, but how do we really make people from day one, while they're pregnant, even having a baby, the foods they start to feed their baby, right? All the freaking processed food that's on the shelf, the puffs, all that stuff. How do you keep them not even eating a lot of sugar processed food? There's lots of studies on that. If you don't give sugar to the baby for 6 years, their brain's like so much better than all of our brains, So how do you prevent one? Okay, because I think you can. So that's like my big goal, just like y'all. Like, come up with a pact. Don't offer the screens at any. Wait. Same thing with sugar. Same thing with processed food. Wait. Because then we won't have to have the conversation of why'd your kid going to get kicked out in 3 days? Because to me, you've already missed the big boat. But let me answer. So if you get to the point of that, then I'm just like calling Dr. LaRose and
and then and it's like
well, then
triage.
you have to clean up the mess, I call it. So then you have to emergently, probably that's when we go to traditional medicine, which I still value, and that's when you say, hey, we might need a medicine to cool off this because there's nothing we can do in 3 days in our world.
In a crisis situation.
Our world's a journey, not a sprint.
So that's what I want. This is my beef with like gentle parenting is a whole nother episode, but it's like this all or nothing thinking that parents attached to, and it's like, okay, well, can't use medicine anymore. Oh, okay, well, I have to eat grass for the rest of my life. And so what I really want this podcast to do, and what Lauren really, Dr. Hernandez, we have 2 Laurens today, so I'm going to get confused. And Lauren and I want to do is, like, this is, like, life is not all or nothing, and different pathways are not all or nothing. And, like, nobody's, like, 80-20 is, like, how, you know. Anyway, so but that's what you're saying. Sometimes it's, like, put a med in, fix, get to optimal health, and then maybe start tapering off the meds.
Yeah. And I think that's what I have done pretty well over the last 2 years is that most people I am getting that reach out to me are on medications, are on multiple medications. And so I'm not day one saying, well, let's stop all these meds. I mean, that would be really a lot.
Detrimental
to everything. You know, they would be kicked out of school. But what I'm saying is, okay, we have a lot of work to do to even be able to talk about even decreasing one med or, you know, whatever. And maybe the goal's not even to get the meds off, but to make them work. Because sometimes they're on 4 meds and they're not even working.
Okay.
Yeah. You know,
okay.
so it's a lot involved in that.
It is. Okay, because I remember I'm going to label this human as a client who was taking taking a dose of Prozac, and it wasn't, I guess, like, working. I'm just going to use it. And then that client then went through testing, and what was learned was that there was no absorption of that. And, correct me if I'm wrong. No, there was no absorption of the Prozac, so therefore it's just, like, going through the system. And so then you fix the gut so that it can get absorbed or whatever. Anyways, but you go, Lauren.
Yeah. Well, and then we found out, I mean, it's okay. You're talking about my kid. Yeah.
Listen.
We could say it. You're talking about my kid. Well, and then, like, you know, I feel like all the stars aligned with that. And that's, like, a whole nother episode.
Yeah, I know.
But, like, if I had not already known Lauren, you know, and then, like, someone random, I didn't even find out from you that you were doing this. It was like someone random was like, hey, you know that Lauren Hernandez does X, Y, and Z, all this extra testing. And I was like, no, like, she was already our pediatrician. So I, like, hounded her down at a basketball game. And I was like, help me, please help me.
Yeah.
And if we had not done that,
you would know.
Round of testing, we wouldn't know all this other shit going on that is the actual problem.
Right.
You know, and we were just treating symptoms.
Right. Well, and I like to tell people too, like, when they come to me about getting off of meds or the meds aren't working or whatnot, I always tell people, like, hey, let's get the kid healthy. And people are like, well, my kid's healthy. I'm like, well, but healthy can mean a million freaking things, right? And so what does healthy truly mean? To me now, over the last 2 years, as I have evolved as what Lauren called more integrative, we call it reformative medicine, because we are reforming medicine. And it's not that I believe in traditional medicine and you need it in so many ways, but when you reform, you're able to do so much more for a kid. So I tell the parents that my number one goal is to get the kid healthy, my version of healthy, which is look at their gut, make sure their microbiome is healthy. The book that Lauren's reading, Happy Healthy Kids, the main theme of that book is your microbiome is so freaking important.
Tell the people what that word means.
Okay, so your microbiome is really this whole other living thing that's living inside of your gut.
Great.
I tell kids it's like a little plant that's growing.
Oh, like
see, what happens if you pour, I don't know what's in this, I'm going to make fun of you, but okay, we'll pretend it's sugar tea with Coke or something.
There is
sugar in it. Okay, and you
there's
pour
stevia, that's natural. Whatever.
Uh-oh.
God,
yeah.
go ahead.
Don't even
right,
open
whatever.
that can of worms.
Go ahead.
So what if you pour your drink on the garden? I don't know if the garden might die. You think?
I feel like tea's like water with tea, with a
say it was Coke.
Oh, well, I don't know though. Would it?
It would kill it.
It would kill it?
Yeah,
so that's
like
your
acid.
microbiome. It's like alive. And it's like so important. And guess what?
What does
the
it look
coolest
like?
thing that they
Look like
intestines.
We'll have to Google it.
It looks like
intestines. Is it a cute little pet?
It's just
like
beautiful.
a chia pet.
It's cooler than you.
It's not hard to be anyways, but continue.
So when you die, your microbiome actually still lives.
I didn't know that.
Where does it go?
Like for
It
how
just
long?
lives. Your body decomposes.
Yeah.
Oh,
and it
okay,
goes into the soil.
Oh, and then it becomes the earth.
And it lives. Yeah. So it literally never dies.
Wow.
So then it just becomes like a tree.
Yeah. I mean, we're reaching here, but it's just so freaking important. It's like your zone, your heart zone that keeps you alive. Probably the most important thing in your whole body.
I'm gonna write that one.
Well, and okay, all of the neurochemicals in the brain that we focus on in mental health, serotonin, dopamine, norepinephrine, like where are they all initially coming from?
Yep.
The gut.
Wait, what? Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Wait. What do you mean?
Like, and you explain this, Dr. Hernandez.
Okay, so about 95-99% of neurotransmitters, right? You know that word. Like
I know the word.
Your dopamine. Okay, so let's go over them really quick.
Whatever this psych class.
You should know this.
Was.
This would be so
You're
good.
right, I should.
Because you know what? Parents are learning these words.
Well,
I mean,
great. Then I'll go to you. I'll do I'll pay you to teach me.
I'll teach you everything. So dopamine is huge. You need to know this word if your kid is on ADHD medicine, right? Like that dopamine is a deficiency of dopamine means you need to give an ADHD medicine, which then increases your dopamine, okay?
Isn't dopamine like a it's like a satisfaction? What's
reward
so
pathway?
It's a pleasure.
Yeah.
Yes, a pleasure. So like when kids go on video games and they can't stop, their
that
dopamine feels so good.
But why is dopamine, or how does dopamine play into or work
more
in
dopamine
ADHD?
Keeps you more filled pleasure-wise, so you're not attention seeking.
Got it.
Well, and there's also something between like the balance of dopamine and norepinephrine in certain parts of the brain.
What's norepinephrine?
It's another neurotransmitter.
I know, but what's its purpose?
Kind of like your go, like your drive, like keeps you going.
But like there's the balance of those two is very critical in development of ADHD. Like if it's not only just that like one is high, one is low, it's like how they're balanced, and it should be different balances in different parts of the brain.
Is that genetic, or can that be influenced by parenting and circumstances?
Okay, that's a really long question for me to answer, but I can get it.
I want to know.
But wait, let me finish neurotransmitters.
Go ahead.
So serotonin, super huge, happiness, right? Helps you from not having anxiety. So most of all those neurotransmitters are made in the gut. So they're made in the gut. They're actually made in the gut, right, with our healthy microbiome, our garden, okay?
The chia.
And then they like shoot to the brain and give you all these feel-good things. They help you focus. And so what happens if the microbiome is like dead?
Yeah.
And then
deficient.
so it can't work.
Okay.
Right. And so then all those neurotransmitters aren't getting made. So there's a direct correlation between the microbiome and then how kids are feeling, acting. And that's why they all are, not all, a lot of them are not doing so well as they used
Rick's
to.
obsessed with the gut. Y'all would, I need to get Rick and you, we got to add Rick to a fourth, and y'all would just fall in love.
Except some of Rick's ideas
Rick's
are just
a little
like,
extreme, but
fuck,
his basis of all this though is, and then I want to get back to the parenting, whatever.
Yeah.
So his grandmother passed away from Alzheimer's, and so his journey started with gluten because he read whatever that gluten. What is it? It increases the chances of getting it. I don't.
So all this is genetic. So back to your question of saying, is it genetic or is it environmental? It's both, right?
Yep.
But one of the tests that we do, and what I'd say is one of the most important tests besides the Evoke, would be the genetics that we do on kids, okay?
Do you do it on adults?
We do it on adults. So there is a gene, there's a couple of genes that would help your husband know if he has the dementia risk or not, and then what to do about it. Because you can do something about every single gene.
He probably don't want to know. I want to know.
No,
so
but
I
you can
prep.
do something. Yeah, you want to know because there's actionable steps you can take to fix it.
Yeah.
And
Rick, you better be listening to this episode.
Yeah, who is Rick, by the way?
That's her husband.
Okay, I figured that. But I thought,
our husbands don't
He's actually
listen to
just
this
a
podcast.
random person on the street that I met.
Because Rick here.
Rick,
so yes, environmental
on
and genetics. But I don't know, and I'm throwing this out there. I know Lauren knows what this is. Have you heard of MTHFR?
I'm going to think about it.
Okay, think about it.
MTHFR. It's an acronym.
We call it the mother gene.
Because
Like
that's
the
how everybody
asshole
thinks
gene?
about it.
No,
that's just because it's
that acronym looks like
Yeah.
motherfucker.
Motherfucker gene. What is it?
So it is a pathway or cycle that has to happen in every single cell for you to stay super healthy. And so when you say, is ADHD genetic, what I would like to say is, let me see your DNA and see what on your DNA, what is genetic. It's not ADHD. It's
Dopamine
the inflammation, the dopamine. It could be the MTHFR issue, okay? So that all you need to do with the MTHFR is look at these pathways and give certain vitamins to support them.
So your microbiome, I almost said mitochondria on accident.
Oh, we can talk about that.
So your
Lauren all excited
microbiome is in charge of the transmitting and levels of dopamine and serotonin.
Yes.
And norepinephrine.
Yes.
It's like the factory.
Yes.
Where
Okay.
everything's made.
Sending the signals to the brain
To produce.
to be able to
The appropriate
work.
levels.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And be in balance.
And be in balance. So, like levels of dopamine and serotonin and norepinephrine, my question was, can those levels and the balance be, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, God, I said it wrong.
Predisposed? Or
predisposed,
cause?
but yeah,
Lead
cause like unhealthy levels or whatever. Can that be caused by trauma? Can it be caused by, I don't know, environmental things, like anything like that?
Yes, 100%. Yes to all that.
And so how does that like relate to I almost said mitochondria again, microbiome? I guess like how does that work?
I really want to talk about mitochondria. Your microbiome can feel stress.
Okay.
And so
sense.
it also will suffer if there's stress.
Okay.
And remember I was telling you the Coke can kill it? Well, stress can hurt it too. And so, yes, like trauma can affect your environment. So toxins and chemicals. I know
like
you guys wanted to bring up, pesticides, mold, microplastics, which is just a new, really, really scary thing to even talk about.
Oh, that's on the list. We're going to get to that.
Yeah. So I think that, yes, everything affects your microbiome. But, I mean, we could say, like, turn this positive. Like, how do you keep your microbiome healthy? We don't want to talk about all the bad stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So,
well, how do you?
Do you think you know?
I'll do it. Okay. How do you keep your microbiome healthy? I mean, I'm going to be vague and then check me and be more specific, okay? How do you keep it healthy? Sleep, appropriate sleep, movement, clean eating as best as possible, hydrate water, what's it called? Like connectivity. What am I missing?
So let's go more into the diet that you have.
Okay.
You said clean eating, healthy eating, right? Because I just said that could mean like 800 things
I
to
know.
people.
Okay.
Chick-fil-A could mean clean eating, healthy because you're not going to McDonald's.
Fine. It depends on where the person starts.
Right.
Yes.
So it's a huge...
meeting the person where they are.
Exactly. Exactly. So I would say the most important thing with that would be, one, you have to see what's wrong with your microbiome, right? So some people we can just kind of know. Other people we test their stool, right? And so the book that Lauren was referring to, that's the big thing. If we test the stool, then we know what we need to do to repair the microbiome. It might be some probiotics. There could be bad bacteria living in our gut, like C. diff, E. coli, parasites, all these things. So if you have these things going on in the gut and the gut is inflamed,
how do you not know if you have E. coli?
Because it can just live inside of you and do
like
a
a low
little bit
level.
of damage kind of slow, right? It's just like, eating sugar. You don't always feel sick from eating sugar right away, but we all know that sugar can lead to diabetes and dementia and all these things over time.
I didn't know it could lead to dementia.
100%.
Yeah.
Type
Sugar's
3
inflammatory.
diabetes.
That's what dementia is?
So you could tell Rick, who I need to meet, that
I mean,
cutting back
love
on
him.
sugar would actually protect his brain. Like
He doesn't drink. He doesn't eat sugar.
Perfect.
And but listen, he's like the guy. He's a New Yorker, okay? So like he's all or nothing, like in a lot of things. He's either like fucking obsessed with golf, like YouTubing it, like whatever every day, or like he's not thinking about it. He's same with food. He's either eating a steak for lunch and dinner, and that's it, or he's eating a bag of high chews and a pizza. Like that's, it's like, but that's his
There's
balance.
no balance.
Okay.
There's no balance.
There's no
That's his
balance.
balance.
Yeah, that's his. But to give him credit, the high chews and the pizza is like rare. You know, he's not doing that like once a week or anything. But anyways, okay. But that can.
So you test it, you find out what you need to do, and then, we brought up your son, like that's what we did. You test it, you find out what you need to do, and then you also add in good food. So when you were saying clean eating, to me, the most perfect diet would be like whole foods, right? Fiber, fruits, vegetables, proteins, and that's what I try to get people to see as a goal. But of course, you start somewhere and then you work that way.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know, like I'm pretty clean. Like I will toot my horn on that. Like I try, like, I mean, Rick hates it, but I eat a lot of vegetables. I probably eat too much, honestly. And I eat like kale, like uncooked, which is like real tough on me. Anyways, are are carbs, like, is there like a good, don't say fruit, besides fruit, is there an appropriate carb?
Vegetables.
So depends on your genetics.
Like if you make your own bread, which I tried to do.
I want to do a pesticide. Let's
I know.
Let's
Can we
throw
talk
in
about
some
that?
pesticides,
Yes.
okay? Because
Okay,
I
let's
think
talk
that
about
is
it.
something that will wake up everybody.
Yes.
So I just went to these 2 conferences, and a lot of the theme of these conferences was mitochondrial health, which I would love to talk about one day. But really, when it boils down to it, we have to think about like our body as just a bunch of cells, right? And our cells are smart, and they're going to work if they get nutrients, and they're going to get fed, and if not, they're going to die. Okay, and that's when cells are dying and things aren't going good in the body. Pesticides, and not everybody knows this, but there's lots of names of pesticides, okay? But glyphosate is a commonly known one, right?
Yeah.
Anybody can Google that and see videos and be like totally freaked out just to live in America, okay?
Yeah.
Because obviously in other places there's no pesticides. So back to your bread question, the big problem with grains and carbs is the pesticides that are being added,
okay,
right? So doing organic or buying organic or really clean stuff from like a homemade wheat person that's making their own bread and stuff, yes, that's going to be better because all of a sudden you're avoiding the pesticides.
Yeah.
But there are 4 trillion pounds, might be wrong on that number, but close to 4 trillion pounds of pesticides sprayed and dumped into the United States, crops, soil, every single year.
So like the I'm trying like the flour that
everything,
I
flour,
everything.
anything, right?
Plants.
Vegetables, fruits, plants, and then it's in the soil. So you could have an organic farm pop up, but it's in the soil and it lives in the soil, and then it
what the
gets into
fuck
the
do you do?
water.
I
So you just
know.
are screwed. You just have to move to Europe, which I mean,
Right,
we'll talk about
which
that
honestly
later.
I may be doing come 2025 anyway.
So,
But-
wait, so I
well.
heard, okay, so like Germany makes glyphosate and it's illegal in their country. So they make it and they ship
and they
it
ship
to
it to
us.
you.
They probably make a lot of money. It's smart.
Oh, I'm sure.
America's so fucking stupid.
It's really
Yeah.
stupid.
Like,
Well, they
what-
laugh at us. I always say every other country's
Yeah,
laughing at
that's
us.
why they all
I
say
mean,
that we're stupid because
we are stupid,
Yeah, we are
and
fucking stupid.
we're they like people. Anyways, whatever. Okay, I know we gotta wrap
But
up.
really, when you talk about kids and their brain and adults in their brain, just like why a lot of these studies aren't done on kids, we're nervous to mess with their brains. So
Yeah.
right now what we're doing is we're feeding and we're putting this pesticide, this chemical that can kill rats, okay, literally kill them. And maybe a little bit is okay and safe for adults, maybe not, you know. But then what about kids? Is anybody testing glyphosate on kids? Like, hey, where's that study? You know?
Yeah.
Because there are links of glyphosate problems to ADHD, autism, every single mental health condition, also destroying your microbiome. So, not only Coke kills it, the glyphosate kills it too.
Yeah.
And that's eating fruits and vegetables. You're literally eating fruits and vegetables with pesticides, and it's killing your microbiome.
So
and you're
it's
like, what the heck am I supposed to do? Because the doctor told me to eat fruits
So
and
just,
vegetables.
Like, grow your
you
own,
know?
but then the dirt.
But
you
then it's
buy,
still in the,
fucking hell.
So
I
you have
know.
to. So my number one thing would be keep your microbiome as healthy as possible, right? By testing it, okay, or finding somebody that can.
Oh, this is a great plug. You should plug yourself now.
I test the microbiome.
Okay, where can people find
yeah.
you?
How do people find you?
So the second clinic, yes, I'm crazy. I have a bunch of clinics and just, keep doing more jobs. But the clinic I opened up with a friend of mine, Dr. Devin Sapansky, is called NuWell Medicine. And we're in Metairie.
Okay.
My partner, Kendall Connick, works with me, and we have an adult provider, Megan Landry. And we do all this stuff on kids and adults. And like I said, it is amazing, amazing way to do medicine because like y'all have seen, there's so many pieces of information we can gather at the very core just to move that healthy needle, in the right direction for that family.
Great. Is there a website?
Yes, NuWellMedicine.com. We're on Instagram at NuWell Medicine.
Awesome.
And
I mean, I'm probably gonna, I think
It's
I'm gonna
so
give
worth
Rick
it.
one of
It
these
is
for
worth
Christmas.
the investment.
Yeah,
Because
I
it's
mean, I'm
like you
probably
get
gonna do it.
information you would not get anywhere else.
Yeah,
Truly.
I mean, I don't want to know, but I need to know.
But you need to know.
well, and it's as a physician, it's like just the most amazing thing that I actually can do this because I would say I'm in a really good other practice that I feel like I don't have the tools to really help people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as a physician, you went to med school to help people, and I don't know if many people feel like that.
Yeah.
I can't speak for them, but
Yeah,
It's true.
Well, you're starting the brigade, bitch. All right. Thank you so much for coming in. You're gonna come in a lot more.
okay, good.
Yes,
All right.
please
I have
come
so
back.
much more
We're
to
going to
say.
get to B, C, D, E,
Yeah,
F, G, and H
HIJK,
next time you come
yeah,
here.
Great,
because I don't
great,
think we
yeah.
got to.
We got one topic.
We
I knew that
got
was
we got to glyphosate
Yeah.
and
Glyphosate.
pesticide.
Yeah. We got a ways
And
to
sugar.
go.
I need to tell you all about the plastics, though.
Yeah,
oh
I
my
wanna know
God.
about
I know. That's
microplastics
a
and
whole.
stuff.
You can test it in your blood.
That freaks me out.
I
It's
know,
a whole
me too.
episode.
I'm
As I
kinda-
like
I'm
have
kinda
my
freaked out,
fucking
too.
plastic water bottle with me. All right, so we got a question from the audience that I'm going to read to y'all from Ryan H. And he writes, I convinced my daughter to eat ham by calling it salmon. And since that word was taken, I then had to refer to salmon as beef. And so beef then became tuna. Tuna became steak. Steak is now turkey. And turkey is leopard meat. Help me. I've built my pantry on a web of lies.
I mean, listen, Rick feeds our kids, mostly Monroe, my girl, lox, and he calls it water meat.
Wait, what is lox?
Salmon.
Oh,
What?
LOX.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm thinking like LOCKS. I'm like, what are you talking about?
But he calls
Okay,
it water
lox.
meat. I don't think there's a problem if you name it something different.
Yeah, you can call
Well,
it pink chicken.
Yeah, who
Yeah,
cares?
I mean, this guy's a little bit in a pickle here because
He's fucked himself. but-
Well, he needs to boil down to what I'll teach kids. Like, it's either real food or fake food.
Right,
And you
yeah.
just tell your kid, like, you eat this because it's real, and then don't eat the goldfish because it's fake. And that's just, at the end of the day, super easy for kids.
and like
know?
you just fucking tell your kids like this is what's for dinner.
Yeah.
If you're if
Well,
you
I
don't
don't
want
get
this,
what was the
then
question?
I'm so sorry, but you might go to bed
Was it a
hungry.
statement or a
I
question?
don't know, Ryan.
Ryan
come
needs
on,
a little help.
Ryan.
He
There
needs
were
to
too
come
many
see me at
words in
NuWell.
Yeah. Book an appointment with
Yeah.
Dr. Hernandez,
Like,
and we'll
learn how
talk
to
about it
condense
further.
your
I'll help you,
language. Stupid idiot. Okay. But
also, thanks
after
for
this
listening,
answer,
Ryan.
Y'all should,
Thank
y'all
you.
should
Yes.
definitely
We're not gonna
submit
mock-
a question. We're not this mean.
We will
every
not
time.
mock your questions or call you
Well,
stupid.
we may,
No.
but
But
to be
thanks for
fucking
listening.
better than Ryan
Yeah.
is what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Idiots. Okay.
All right. Well,
All right,
thanks,
we'll see you on
Lauren.
next-
Okay.
I mean, Dr.
All right.
Hernandez. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Well, you can call her
It was
Lauren,
so
'cause
fun.
I'm
Yeah, it's
Lauren.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lauren Hernandez.
Lauren.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Little Brain Campaign.
Please like, subscribe, and follow.
See you next time.